Hey you! Do you love chocolate? I do. But do you know where your chocolate is from and what the producer earns from it? Well, we don't think about this when we are in the supermarket, right? Or do we even care at all? Or do you actually buy fair trade products so the producer's getting a better share? I think we have all heard about child labor and exploitation in cocoa production, right? Well, let me tell you a story of how cocoa farmers were doing way better at one time in history as they are doing now. Before we start, I need your help. I already published a few videos, which are the first that I have ever made, and I'm still learning a lot about editing, voice recording, and how I can present these topics to give you better content. If you're interested in economics and economic history, please subscribe to my channel, leave a like, give me some love in the comments, share this video, and also let me know in the comments below what other topics I should cover for you in upcoming videos. With that out of the way, let's go back to the video. As you know, chocolate is produced from the seeds of the cocoa tree. It's originated from Mesoamerica, and the ancient civilizations of the Olmecs, Mayas and Aztecs all already enjoyed some form of chocolate. As the cocoa seed usually has a rather bitter taste, chocolate as a beverage just became famous in Europe when sugar, honey, vanilla or other ingredients were added to add a sweeter taste. Even though the cocoa bean originated from Latin America, nowadays more than 70% of the produced cocoa seeds are from West Africa. However, in Africa just exists one production factory for chocolate. The biggest producing countries are the USA, Germany, Switzerland and Belgium. None of these countries are cultivating cocoa trees themselves, so they have to completely import the raw products or chocolate butter. The farmers that are producing the cocoa beans are faced with three main functional intermediaries: Cargill, Gayabo, and Olam. These three multinational companies form an oligopoly and therefore can dictate the price of the raw materials to the cocoa farmers. But hey. You might want to ask now, if there are just three intermediaries, but so many farmers, why aren't the farmers able to put their terms on these few companies? Or just limit the supply of the product to leverage the prices of the cocoa for the intermediaries? Similar like the OPEC is doing it for oil, right? Well, there's a big difference between oil and cocoa beans. Oil doesn't spoil, so the farmers can't hold back their harvest, otherwise all the work that they did is gone for good and they will be left without anything. Therefore, the oligopoly has a stronger leverage on the farmers as the farmers have on the intermediaries. But even if new chocolatiers would come up, these would have to compete with the biggest manufacturers of the world like Nestlé, Mars, Mondelez, Hershey, Ferrero or Lindt. Billion-dollar companies which grew over centuries, profiting from colonialistic structures and the free trade. Didn't I mention that cocoa farmers were doing well at one time in history? What was that about? And why are they often poor nowadays, even having to rely on child labor and all the stuff we don't like? Well, the prices for the cocoa beans are now traded on exchanges like any other good as well. As a consequence, the prices for cocoa beans are fluctuating and we're hitting the lowest point in 150 years in the year 2000. So the price volatility on the market is a nice vehicle to make profit for investors and speculators. But it also puts a lot of pressure on the farmers as they undergo price pressure to make even more profit for the investors and speculators, but having to deal with the volatility of the prices. In the 60s of the previous century, the UN helped to set up a system of stable global prices. The farmers knew they had a stable and good income. Life was well. This was even supported by the US, which is on the global economic level probably most known for its free trade policies. And it was the US who ended this steady price policy for coffee and cocoa beans in 1989. Why was that? Well, what happened in 1989 on a global level? Right, the collapse of the Soviet Union, meaning communism lost, free trade won. The US was just supporting the steady price policy prior, as they were afraid to lose the producing countries to the communist bloc if they could not have a stable life on their income as farmers. As the threat of the Soviet Union was gone, there was no need to support these mechanisms anymore. Let them be part of the free market, right? What should go wrong? The price is divided in half, and the farmers do not have a steady income. Just around 6% of the prices that we are paying in the supermarket for our chocolate are going directly to the farmers. Just 6%. The rest is divided by multinational companies and the supermarket. To make a living, the farmers are forced to lower their costs. Also, with the help of child labor, as they are cheap workers, or slavery-like work conditions. If the salary of the farmers should be at a level that they have a living wage and they are not depending on child labor and slave-like working conditions, this would just cost us 5 cents per chocolate that we're buying. 5 cents. To reduce child labor, to take away the pressure of making a living and securing the food for the families of someone across the globe. So we really don't need to limit our consumption of chocolate to help others. It really helps if we consume in a more conscious way. Checking for fair trade products, which are still a niche product. Or maybe just buy the chocolate of a company besides the global players, and who knows, maybe one day we really find chocolate of a company which comes from the country of the origin of the resources, or even from the producers themselves. Wouldn't that be sweet? So what about you? Are you a chocolate lover, or do you prefer salty things? Are you aware of the situation under which chocolate is produced, and do you try to buy fair trade products? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and also watch my other videos. And I'll see you in the next one.